You ever walk outside expecting a quiet morning and find out your whole rainwater system's been drained overnight? 3,000 gallons? Gone. Puddles still glistening on the sidewalk, tanks bone dry, and me just standing there in my slippers like I got hit by a truck. My neighbors were already peeking from their porches, coffee mugs in hand, trying not to stare too hard, but you know they were. No. "Hey, Caleb, everything okay?" Jordan called out from across the street. He didn't even wait for my answer, just kind of gestured toward the tanks with a guilty shrug. "I, saw it happening yesterday. Thought it was you." "You saw it and didn't call me?" I asked, half laughing, half ready to scream. He scratched his head. "Marlene was there. Figured it was official business." Marlene Greer, the HOA president from hell. Clipboard queen. Beige warrior. Defender of lawn conformity. My stomach dropped. I ran back inside, flipped through the mail pile I'd ignored, and there it was. A notice from the Green Hills HOA. Exterior violations. 48-hour removal. Aesthetic disruption. All written in that tone that makes you feel like you're being scolded by a robot. So I called the HOA. Got the classic "Marlene is unavailable" routine from Cheryl the receptionist. I told her my system wasn't just some backyard project. It supplied the community garden the HOA approved. Last year, the one that 30 elementary school kids had been working on for months. Grand opening was supposed to be tomorrow. Cheryl offered to transfer me to the complaints department. I hung up, and that's when I saw her, outside my window. Marlene herself. Beige pantsuit, clipboard raised like a badge, snapping photos of my now useless setup. I marched right out the door. "Marlene!" She turned with that fake, sweet smile, like nothing was wrong. "Good morning, Mr. Carter. You drained my tanks. They violated Section 11.3b. Unapproved installations visible from the street. They're not garbage cans, Marlene. They're part of a rainwater system feeding the community garden." "Well, you didn't get prior approval," she said, flipping her papers like that ended the conversation. "You've got 48 hours to remove the containers or face a $500 daily fine." I stared at her. "Do you even know what those tanks were for?" She sniffed. "Unsanitary water hoarding, mosquitoes, and very unattractive." Before I could respond, my phone buzzed. Sarah, the second-grade teacher who organized the garden, was on the line. "Caleb, the soil's dry. What happened to the water?" I looked at Marlene. "The HOA happened," I said flatly. "The kids are so excited. Please tell me we're not going to let them down." "I'm working on it," I said, though I had no idea what I was going to do. Later that afternoon, I walked over to Jonah's house. He's a real estate lawyer, and more importantly, my best shot at making sense of HOA chaos. He was flipping burgers in his yard, wearing an apron that said "Grill Sergeant." Not exactly courtroom attire, but I wasn't picky. "She emptied your tanks?" he asked. "During a drought? Can she do that?" HOAs get a lot of leeway. But if you've got city drought rules and it's tied to a public project, it is ambitious, the garden, then that changes everything. Kids and sustainability? That's PR dynamite. He told me to call the city water authority. After 2 hours and at least 7 transfers, I finally got someone who said, "Wait, they drained a rainwater system during a Stage 2 drought emergency?" "Yep, supplying a school garden. The kids are coming tomorrow." She paused. "I'm transferring you to Councilmember Duarte. He's on the drought board." That night, I was buried in research, ordinances, bylaws, everything. That's when Tom, my neighbor, showed up holding a folder. Saw what happened. Thought this might help. Inside, a city document from months ago, outlining protections for residential conservation systems. Then he grinned. "I registered your setup with the city," he said. "Part of our drought initiative. Check your email from March." I had never loved Tom more than in that moment. Next morning, emergency HOA meeting. Half the neighborhood showed up. Word had spread fast. I laid out the whole story. The tanks, the system, the school, the city regs. Marlene tried to spin it. "Rules are rules," she said. "If we allow this, what's next? Lawns full of compost bins?" She played the property value card like it was a royal flush. The board voted 4-1. My appeal was denied. By the time I got to the garden, a news crew was already there. Alyssa Chen, local reporter. I showed her the tanks, explained the system. She nodded, genuinely interested. Then, of course, Marlene showed up, marching like a storm in sensible heels. "You can't film here without HOA approval." Alyssa turned. "Did you order the drainage of a water conservation system during a declared drought?" Marlene tried to backpedal. Alyssa hit her with a quote from Council Member Duarte, confirming the system was protected by law. Marlene froze, muttered something about miscommunication, and stormed off. But I still didn't have water. I made one last call. Tony, my old roommate, who now runs a landscaping company. "You want how much water by tomorrow morning?" "Caleb, that's a whole truckload, during a drought." "Tony, please," he sighed. "For you? I'll make it happen, but it's gonna cost you." Next morning, kids show up. No water truck. The plants are wilting. Parents are watching. Sarah gives me that "we're about to crush 30 kids' dreams" look. Then sirens. Not Tony, police. "We received reports of water theft," one officer said. Marlene stepped up like she'd won the lottery. "That's him!" "Are you Marlene Greer?" the officer asked. "Yes, I'm the HOA president. We're investigating you, ma'am, for draining a registered drought mitigation system." Her face turned a shade of beige I didn't know existed. That's when Tony's truck finally rounded the corner. He stepped out and immediately locked eyes with Marlene. "Patricia, Anthony, you two know each other?" I asked. "She's my sister," Tony muttered. A gasp went through the crowd. "Estranged," Marlene added quickly. Apparently years ago, she reported his business for water violations. He was testing a drip system. She didn't care. That was the last time they spoke. While they stood there, stunned, Sarah rushed over. "Some of the plants are already dying." Tony snapped out of it. "Where do you need the water?" The parents formed a bucket line. Kids carried watering cans. And Marlene, after a long pause, stepped in. "What can I do?" she asked Sarah. Sarah didn't miss a beat. "Organize the kids. Keep them from overwatering." She did it. And she was good at it. By that afternoon, the garden was back to life. The news crew caught it all. Community working together. Marlene handing out watering cans like some eco version of Oprah. Later, she pulled me aside. "Your rainwater system. It could be a model. We add some wooden panels, maybe a few bushes, and it wouldn't violate anything. You want to help now? I want to adapt. Rules should protect what matters." 3 months later, 5 homes had similar systems. Marlene led the HOA's new environmental committee. She still had her clipboard, but now she used it to measure water savings. At the neighborhood's conservation ceremony, the mayor called us a model community. And Marlene? She smiled and didn't even correct him. Funny how the right crisis can change everything. But here's the thing. Was Marlene really a villain? Or just someone who needed to see the bigger picture? Let me know what you think. Drop a comment. Tell me what side you're on. Rules, justice, change. Where do you draw the line?